What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Zone. Today, let's get started with Dricus Du Plessis sends a message to Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev showed off his strength this past weekend by not only doing some serious damage to Robert Whittaker's teeth, but also by taking the former champion down multiple times, which no other fighter's been able to do with the same level of efficiency as Chimaev did on Saturday night. And before we continue, make sure to leave a like on the video to help support the channel. Even though Chimaev managed to get the victory without absorbing a single significant strike, Dricus Du Plessis isn't too worried about how a potential fight between the two plays out. You see Khamzat, he backs people up and I don't back up. And Khamzat being strong, when I fight, I don't know how to back up. I'm going to go out there and fight you. And we've seen this with Khamzat, slowing down after the first round and a half, and I think this is because he uses so much power. He has the wrestling technique, of course, but he uses his strength as a weapon. And in this case, he has a gun and I have a tank. When it comes to the strength, there's not a middleweight that's going to overpower me. It's not going to happen. Khamzat, you think you're strong? You think you're powerful? You have not felt anything. And I can't wait till I see it on his face, because I see it on every single person I fight's face. Would be a fight between two absolute warriors through the first 2 rounds. But after that, the champ said that rounds 3 to 5 would be smooth sailing for him. The big question now is whether or not the UFC will grant Du Plessis' wish and have him fight Chimaev next, or have him run things back with Sean Strickland in January or February, and then have Chimaev fight the winner later in the year. Sean Strickland, of course, has made it clear that he thinks Chimaev needs to wait, but the UFC may have other plans. Daniel Cormier and Derrick Lewis go back and forth. Even though Daniel Cormier has been retired for years now, he landed in the crosshairs of Derrick Lewis this week, ahead of the Black Beast fight with Jonata Denise this weekend. While talking with media members during fight week, Lewis took aim at DC in what seemed like a pretty unprovoked rant that left many members of the MMA community, including Ariel Helwani, confused. After Lewis's comments, Helwani called DC live on the Ariel Helwani show to get his take.
I don't know, because I haven't seen him for a while, but I was pretty hard on him about retiring because he had lost a couple fights and I was kind of telling the truth, and he seemed mad at me, but I haven't seen him. But I'm going to see him this weekend, and I'm going to kind of ask him, like, yo, are you mad at me?
Can I tell you what he said?
Yeah, tell me.
He says, you know what you did. I hate to be, it's not my words, I love you like a brother. He called you a piece of and a bag. But then he mentioned the Popeye's chicken thing, and then we're like, oh, is he joking? But then he's like, but besides that, he knows what he did. And three of us think that he's joking. I think there's some truth there.
Cormier said that once he touched down in Edmonton for this weekend's card, he wanted to get to the bottom of the comments, but Lewis's mind might already be made up.
I told DC in his face, man, I got a piece of he's piece of bag, man. DC.
Why?
He know why.
DC knows why?
Yeah, DC know why. And everyone know why too. He disrespect that Popeye's chicken. But other than that, he's a piece of
From the sounds of things, Cormier thinks that Lewis wasn't happy that the former champ said he should retire during a losing streak. But regardless of whether or not that's why the Black Beast is mad, the odds of DC returning to the octagon seem pretty slim, given that he's been retired for almost 5 years now. MMA community reacts to Justin Gaethje getting dropped. So far, there's been no official word on when Justin Gaethje will be back inside the octagon after his UFC 300 KO loss. But in the meantime, the highlight seems to be ramping up the intensity in training. In new training footage, Gaethje and one of his coaches were going back and forth trading body shots until Gaethje crumpled to the floor after absorbing a liver shot. The camera then pans over to Trevor Whitman, who seems to be enjoying the hostilities, as Robin Black would say. The MMA community was quick to react to the clip, with Charlie Quinn writing, "The last thing Justin needs is challenges of taking damage." Another joked about Trevor Whitman. Trevor Whitman hates to see his fighter winning. One fan wasn't surprised that the body shot that dropped Gaethje was a liver shot. Liver shot will do that to you. One fan doesn't think that Gaethje will be able to bounce back from his loss to Holloway. Just proves Max Holloway ruined Gaethje's career. Now he can't even take shots from a nobody bum that trains 3 days a week. Another wrote, well, body shots at least don't give you brain damage, so I don't really see an issue here. One fan referenced the viral clip of Trevor Whitman smiling after Kamaru Usman was knocked out by Leon Edwards. Trevor's a psychopath. Remember when Usman got dropped? Another joke that they would get revenge for Gaethje. Leave Gaethje alone. I want Trevor Whitman in the ring. Right now. I'm gonna get it back for my boy. After Max Holloway's recent loss of the weekend, Gaethje's next fight could be a part of the 4-man BMF tournament that we've been hearing so much about, given that none of the 4 fighters have a fight booked. Michael Venom Page calls out Shara Bullet. Since Shara Magomedov's win on Saturday, his team has already said that he plans to return to action on February 1st when the UFC heads back to Saudi Arabia. While he might have his sights set on a fight with Israel Adesanya, the chances of a fight between those two happening seem pretty slim, considering the gap between them in the rankings. Fortunately for Magomedov, it sounds like another striker has already stepped up and offered to fight on the card. During an interview with MMA Fighting, Michael Page threw his name into the hat, telling Shara Bullet to leave Izzy alone and fight him instead. He called out my boy Izzy. "Bane, I'm at that weight right now. We don't even have to wait too long. That one there, I'll just take one straight away, just for the fun of it. That's what I'm fighting. That's what I'm grappling at right now. So I'm in shape now, ready to go. So that's a good fight for me, I think. Just, a nice stand-up fight for everybody, just to come back to the game. And like I said, leave my boy Izzy alone. He's trying to get back to the belt, to the throne, so I'll take his place." From the sound of things, though fans want to see Magomedov fight Paulo Costa, even though Costa made it clear that a screenshot going around about him calling out Magomedov was fake, Costa then followed it up with another post asking fans if they really want to see him fight Magomedov before then posting a video of himself apparently signing a contract to fight along with the caption, "Let's fight." Between Costa and MVP, it sounds like the UFC already has two fighters down to fight with Magomedov. UFC fighter reveals scary health issue. Amir Albazi will make his comeback to the octagon this weekend after a year off to fight against Brandon Moreno. After his last fight, Albazi went through some testing because of some problems he had going into the fight and found out that he has a heart condition that causes an irregular heartbeat. Even though he wound up getting a procedure to fix the heart condition, he then wound up having another unrelated problem once he got back to training. As it turned out, he needed neck surgery after suffering damage to his spinal cord thanks to narrowing in his neck that could have paralyzed him. During his media day appearance on Wednesday, he explained the situation and talked about his return to action.
I had to do a heart surgery, so coming back after that heart surgery, I kept training and then my left arm literally stopped. I couldn't lift my arm up, I couldn't jab, I couldn't do anything. And when the UFC doctors found out, they literally pulled me out of the fight and I had to go straight into surgery. They told me you're like one punch away from actually getting paralyzed. So after that surgery, here I am, the longest break in my career, actually, athletic career. And I'm just grateful.
Heading into this Saturday's fight, Albazi is ranked 3rd and Moreno is ranked 4th, meaning that if he gets a win over the former champ, he could wind up next in line for a crack at the belt after Alexandre Pantoja and Kai Asakura throw down in December. Ben Askren relates to Francis Ngannou and Dana White beef. Dana White has been dragging Francis Ngannou in the media over the past few weeks whenever he gets the chance. At one point, Dana said that the UFC's offer to Ngannou would have paid him way more money than he made in boxing, before he then contradicted himself by saying that Ngannou left the UFC because he's all about the money. The conflicting story is one that sounds pretty familiar to Ben Askren, who remembers that at one point, Dana White was saying that he didn't want to join the UFC because he didn't want to fight the best of the best. On Funky and the Champ this week, he explained how he relates to the Predator's beef with the UFC boss. Dana spent years lying, saying I didn't want to fight the best, I didn't want challenges, I was running away. And that couldn't have been further from the truth. It's essentially slander, saying things about me that I knew weren't true. Dana has this part of his personality where he can't get what he wants, and in that case, he didn't offer me a contract, so he kind of got what he wanted. But then, I think because I was continuing to have success and people were continuing to follow me, he wanted me off in a dark corner where everyone ignored me or something. But he's done the same thing with Cyborg. I believe Randy Couture had a similar experience, now Francis. But there's this weird part of Dana's personality where if he doesn't get exactly what he wants, he just starts crapping on people. As Askren pointed out, he wishes he got the chance to fight in the UFC in 2013 when he was the one champion. Because when he did finally get his chance to fight in the UFC in 2019, he was already well past his prime and should have probably had hip replacement surgery. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight struggles to sell tickets. Tickets for the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul boxing match on November 15th have not been selling the way promoters expected. At one point, the co-founder of Jake Paul's Most Valuable Promotions said that they were expecting tickets and VIP packages to sell out. But now, according to MMA Junkie, they're discounting tickets because of low sales. The fight is supposed to happen at AT&T Stadium in Texas, which holds 80,000 seats. But unless something changes, it sounds like some of those seats may be empty. According to MMA Junkie, hundreds of tickets are now being listed at $37 after being discounted this week. If they don't wind up selling out, don't be surprised to see the promotion giving away some tickets so they can fill up some of the seats closer to the ring. Belal Muhammad is out of his fight against Shavkat Rakhmonov at UFC 310. We reported yesterday that Shavkat could potentially pull out of his fight with Belal due to a knee injury. But it's now being reported that Belal has actually pulled out, and the reason isn't known yet. It's being rumored that the cause for pulling out isn't a minor injury, but instead something more serious than that. Here's what the MMA community had to say. The most boring champ drops out of his first title defense. Yikes. Look at these nerds talking like Belal didn't put his streak on the line when he was injured against Gilbert. If Belal is injured, then it's something serious. This is why nobody, including the UFC, didn't want him to win. He's going to get better, then we're going to have to wait on Ramadan. So he won't get to be in a camp as early as April. So basically, we won't see him fight until July. Belal Muhammad posted to Instagram revealing that he caught a bone infection in his foot. He said, "Caught a bone infection in my foot. Had to put a PICC line in my arm for IV antibiotics the next 6 weeks with no physical activity. Allah's plan is the best plan. I'm sorry to everyone that were coming to see me. I'll be back soon." Who should replace Belal Muhammad at UFC 310? Let us know in the comments below. Top comments. The Twitter meltdown from Strickland if he gets skipped for Chimaev is going to be hilarious. Paulo Costa would get destroyed by Khamzat. DDP versus Khamzat will be way more entertaining than having DDP versus Strickland. Can't even remember the last time Costa won a fight. Book Shara versus Costa.